right, everyone. I guess I'm in charge of getting this party started. Woohoo! So if people don't mind taking their seats. Hey, Joe. Okay, so welcome everyone to the 2025 Fraser Gala, our 90th anniversary celebration presented by the Duane and Lynda Jergenson Family Foundation. And thank you, Jergenson family, Michael too, for your many years of generous support. I recently read a quote from Albert Einstein that made me stop and think about Fraser's 90th year. Quote, "The only source of knowledge is experience." I think Fraser's life experience may be one of Fraser's greatest strengths. We have accumulated a lot of knowledge over 90 years. All that knowledge has helped Fraser grow from serving just a handful of children in Mrs. Fraser's living room to serving more than 17,000 individuals in 54 sites with our 2,000 spectacular staff. And because Fraser serves the entire family, we impact more than 17,000 clients. So I asked my friend AI to calculate that ripple effect. And here's what I learned. A ripple effect works like this. If you serve 17,000 people a year, like Fraser does, you indirectly support up to an additional 51,000 family members. And when you count the positive impact of those around them, the community as a whole, that number soars to more than 150,000 people. So just think about how many lives you have helped Fraser to impact over 90 years. I'll tell you this work has never been easy, but it's always been critical. Mrs. Fraser knew this in 1935 when she stood up for the belief that everybody deserves the right to live a fulfilled life no matter what their ability. Fraser takes that impossible vision and makes it a reality. We have grown dramatically over the years, but every day we discover that there is so much more to do. We have listened to you. We promise we won't stop until we build a community of inclusion that includes everybody, and I think I'm paused. Let me just kind of talk off the top here because we're stopped with the prompter. So let me just say this. When Mrs. Fraser decided when she decided years ago that we didn't need to treat these individuals like animals because that's what she was accused of, when she opened her home to children with disabilities, the community felt that she was basically teaching the animals. Back then, they institutionalized these children. And as a result of her tenacity, her personality, her perseverance, we became who we are today. So I don't want to forget that wonderful legacy that she left all of us. One important program that reflects that promise is Fraser's Career Planning and Employment Division. Across Minnesota, far too many young people with neurodiverse needs live quiet lives in their parents' basements with no job, no social network, and no supports to help them move toward the independence they dream of. But as Mrs. Fraser knew, when people receive the right supports at the right time, they can move towards total independence, improve their social lives and family relationships, and most importantly, strengthen our shared future. Through that individual combination of therapy and supports, we have built a legacy of success for thousands of Fraser clients. As a result, many of them now have jobs, homes, families, and most importantly, bright futures. That success has multiplied over 9 decades and created a ripple effect that has positively impacted our entire community. So when you donate tonight, know that your generosity does not just go to one single program. It strengthens Fraser's foundation and builds a bridge to opportunity and belonging for thousands of individuals and families over many years and many generations. That's Fraser's legacy, and that's what we are really here celebrating tonight. So thank you all. So there's really is no one better to talk about Fraser's legacy and impact than Scott Fraser, the grandson of Fraser's founder, Louise Whitbeck Fraser. Scott works in New York as an Emmy Award-winning producer, writer, and director of documentaries in the news and entertainment industry. His career highlights include a documentary on child poverty for NBC, narrated by Maya Angelou, live coverage of the death of John Paul II in Rome for CBS News, and a WGBH documentary inspired by the world's first Earth Summit in Rio de Janeiro. Scott is here with us tonight to celebrate 9 decades of building belonging. Please welcome him to the stage as a beloved and honored guest.
Thank you. Hey, everybody. I don't know about you, but as you're digging into that salad, something about calling me a grandkid, I don't know. I got grandkids over here, but I seem too old to be a grandkid. And especially one that gets emotional when he talks about his granny, which I'm about to get. It's such an honor to be with you here tonight. To be here with my wife, Kim, and our son, Chris, his wife, Marianne, and best of all, our 2 grandchildren, Wesley and Chloe. My words will be brief. You have much on your plate tonight, literally and figuratively. And you've already done so much to keep our granny's legacy alive. I know she's here with us and with my 2 brothers and my 2 sisters. And I know she would be so very proud of this 90th anniversary celebration. A few weeks ago, I ventured downstairs into our basement. You know what that kind of mess that thing could be? Where our family keepsakes are stored in boxes on shelves, God knows what else. Looking for inspiration, I snapped open a long, transparent plastic box, and there on top, I found a tattered, pink, fabric-colored book with a gold-inscribed title, Baby's Life. I opened it, and glued to one of its sturdy pages was a black and white photograph of a beautiful woman seated on a worn wooden step. See that page right there? And she was in a long white dress. Her hair was swept up behind her head. It was my grandmother, 26-year-old Louise, cradling her newborn baby, Jean, who had just been born on August 9th, 1920, in Redwood Falls, Minnesota. You could already tell Aunt Jeannie was going to be tall, just like her dad. On a page titled Mother's Notes a month later, Granny had scrawled a chilling entry that read, Jean was taken critically ill with spinal meningitis. and for more than 3 weeks, her recovery seemed hopeless. A month later, Granny wrote optimistically, the tide had turned, and Jean was nearly herself again. But the baby book that began with such joy was never finished. So many pages were left blank. There were Jean's first locks of beautiful sunny brown hair kept carefully in a swirl, but the pages titled Baby's Sayings were blank. Jean survived, but would never again hear the loving words of her mother. She was profoundly deaf, and her illness had damaged her tiny brain. In the ensuing years, our grandmother suffered unimaginable loss. In the midst of premature deaths of her baby son, her husband, eldest daughter, it was the survival of her daughter Jean and her refusal to commit little Jeannie to a state mental deficiency institution that became the crucible that would define our grandmother and lead to the founding of Fraser School in 1935. By the way, little Jeannie, she grew to be a towering 6 feet tall. I'm 6'3". She was like this. We almost looked eye to eye. And she became our grandmother's defender and constant companion until the last day of her life. Aunt Jean was a cherished teacher of the youngest ones here at Fraser. And it was her big, strong hand reaching down to a trusting child. I think we have a picture of it, if you can go to that. That was photographed for the cover of our grandmother's landmark book, A Cup of Kindness. That's her hand there. It's a big one. At her memorial service, I was seated in the front row right next to Vice President Hubert Humphrey. Speakers had described my granny as a courageous lion protecting its cubs, like little Vicky, who is Humphrey's granddaughter. Here's what Humphrey had to say about our granny's pitch to Fraser board members and potential donors like all of you out here tonight. You can do it. Have faith. It will get done. And she sort of made you feel that anything was possible. And more importantly, she wanted to make you do things better than you'd ever dreamed that you could do them. Humphrey summed up saying, Louise Fraser's love for children will live in this community as long as there is a community. So, let's get busy. We each have a responsibility to carry the torch, to keep my grandmother's dream alive, to continue her cherished 90-year legacy of caring for the little ones, just like she did for our Aunt Jean, and providing hope to people of all ages, and to their families, and to all of you here tonight. Thank you very much.